don't know. We all 6 feet apart? I don't know. Dr. Fauci might not be happy. Oh, dear. All right. This gospel passage is so wonderful for a number of reasons. It's because it's so real. And you might say to yourself, what does it mean it's so real? Well, when we read these gospels, sometimes it's not just what's there, but it's also what's not there. And then you begin to put the pieces together and you say to yourself, wow, this is really good stuff. This is good stuff. Okay, what do I mean by that? How do we read into the gospel the truth, even though it's not said explicitly? We have these women going out to the cemetery early in the morning to anoint the body of Jesus. They see that the tomb is empty, and they return back to the apostles. And they say to the apostles, the tomb is empty. And Peter and John, they head out to the cemetery. Now, as tradition has it, tradition is this, is that John was the youngest of the apostles, probably around 17 years old. That's what tradition holds. Peter, on the other hand, is a man nearing middle age. He's probably someplace in his 30s, maybe the other side of 35, like most of us. And John is always bragging about himself. If you read John's Gospels, he keeps making sure that everybody knows that Jesus loved me the best. He does. He does. And he keeps calling himself the beloved disciples. I mean, he wants everybody to know that he was number one with Jesus. Now, he was 17, and Peter, as I said, was a middle-aged man. And it says they ran out to the cemetery. Now, anybody who has any dealings with a 17-year-old boy knows that they can usually run a lot faster than a middle-aged man. As a matter of fact, I'm at Newman High School, and those boys, they run like rabbits. They are fast. They're fast. So, what we have here is probably the fact that they both ran. Bottom line is, John did beat him. But it says something else. I got to the tomb first, and I looked in, but I waited till Peter got there. Why? 17-year-old boys are scaredy cats. Oh, they talk a big game. They talk a great game. How tough they are, you know? Ask one of them if they would mind going to the cemetery when it's still dark out and see what they say. The answer is going to be, So he waited until Peter arrived. And then they went in and they saw the wrappings that were there. Pretty good testimony that this is true. Now, sometimes people might say, well, is that good enough? Well, testimony from reliable witnesses and for somebody who speaks the way John speaks and acts the way John speaks, yeah, it's better than CNN. I mean Fox, I'm sorry. That's what you're looking for. In the Gospels, that's what our faith is based on. Testimony that the resurrection did indeed take place, and the events of the revelation of Jesus rising from the dead were attested to by the apostles. That's the facts. Now, some people ask, what is it going to be like at the resurrection? What's going to happen? Well, let me tell you a story. When I was a little boy, we lived in Brooklyn, where the tree grows. You know that place? And we had an old German woman who lived upstairs from us. Her name was Grandma Kraus. And Grandma was a refugee from Germany. And she would often tell the story. I can remember as time went by, she would tell it more and more often. And it kind of got emblazoned in my brain. She said that her brother was a professor at the University of Bonn. And his name was Professor John Stock. She said when the Nazis came, they arrested her brother. They brought him to a concentration camp. She was the youngest of about 10 children, I believe. A number of years passed, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it was, and they thought that he had died in the concentration camp. One day, she says she was about 10, 11 years old. It was when they took him, she was only about 5 or 6 years old. She said she saw some man walking down the street. And she said, I couldn't see exactly who it was, but he reminded me of somebody that I knew, just the way he walked. As the man got closer to the house, it was her brother. He survived. And she said it was like somebody rising from the dead. We saw him all over again, and he was alive. That's what it's going to be like at the resurrection. Those who we thought were dead forever, they'll live forever. They're alive. They'll escape death itself. And what do we have to look forward to? Kind of like this. One of my brothers is not known to be a very emotional person, except when he gets mad. But he doesn't like to show his feelings very much. And one day, I was sitting with him, and my father had passed away a couple of years prior to this conversation. And he said to me, you know, I really miss Dad a lot. I said, I know, I do too. He says, you know, I can't even dream about it. If I could only just dream about it, I'd be happy. I said, Peter, you don't have to waste your time on a dream. We believe in the resurrection of the dead. You're going to see him again on the last day. And we can enjoy his presence forever. That's what the resurrection does for all of us. And that's what our faith in Jesus Christ is all about. You're here today because you're believers in the resurrection. Go spread the good news to your friends and your relatives. And let it always ring forth in our hearts and minds. Jesus is risen. Alleluia. Alleluia.